I got a comment on one of my old Chris Eubank Jr. videos asking for my thoughts and feedback on the Chris Eubank Jr. versus Dmitry Chudinov fight, and I was keen to do a video. I think it's certainly an interesting fight that will capture some imagination within the public. Let me say first, at present I'm having a bit of uncertainty with my situation. It looks like my current job is coming to a close, which is a bit of a sad point, and I do really appreciate all the messages I get on my videos, all the comments, tweets, etc. It's a bit of a nice escape to come home and to have all of the boxing discussion going on, definitely. So thanks very much for that. I wanted to talk about Eubank Jr. versus Chudinov. Now, at first I call this fight as a 50-50 fight that I found very, very difficult to predict a winner in. Subsequently, I've gone back and I've watched a lot of the fights. I've had a look at a few of Chudinov's old fights. I've watched the Patrick Nielsen fight, the Mendy fight. Had a look at a bit more of Chris Eubank Jr. And I have come to a conclusion on who I think is going to win. Excuse me. Now, first things first, Dmitry Chudinov has got a lot of attributes and assets that I think could cause Chris Eubank Jr. problems. First and foremost, I believe Chris Eubank Jr. is a guy who relies on power punching, despite the fact that I don't believe he's a genuine power puncher at middleweight. Yes, he's looked devastating in his fights pre-Billy Joe Saunders, but they were against journeymen, often guys who are welterweights or light middleweights. I don't believe against genuine 160 pounders like Billy Joe, like Chudinov, the guy is an elite level power puncher. I don't believe at the weight he's as big a puncher as Golovkin, as Lemieux. Now, Chudinov is a tough guy. He's rugged, he's strong. He's not small at the weight either. Chudinov's very durable. He's never really shown a propensity to get hurt in fights. So Chris Eubank Jr. I believe is going to have to go rounds in this fight. I don't see him flooring Chudinov early. I don't see him getting him out of there with a heavy barrage of shots. So that calls into question Chris Eubank Jr.'s point scoring ability. Can he win the rounds? Now, I've had questions over Chris Eubank Jr. for a long time. I feel I was largely vindicated in my comments on him pre the Billy Joe Saunders fight. Let's put it this way. I don't believe Eubank Jr. has too much of a jab. I don't believe his movement is advanced. I think defensively he's poor. I think a guy with a slick defence, a guy with body punching, a guy with a nice accurate jab can cause him all sorts of bother. Now, the difficulty with this fight is Chudinov, whilst he brings a lot to the table, whilst he is a bit of a power puncher himself, whilst he is tough, rugged, whilst he can get into a real scrap on the inside, he's not a guy who's a technically brilliant boxer. You've got to look at the weaknesses that can be exploited in a fight. And in my idea, these guys are similar in many ways. They're both big middleweights. They're both tough, durable guys with strength and with a chin. They both like to get into a scrap. Neither of them have electric jabs. Neither of them have amazing movement. These are guys who can get involved in a proper scrap in the centre of the ring. These are guys who can throw hooks and uppercuts on the inside. These are guys who are going to come for a war. Now, the difficulty is I don't necessarily see a knockout here. I think both of them can whack a little bit, but I don't see either of them as elite level punchers at middleweight. And I see both of them as durable, tough guys. So I think this one goes the distance. I think it goes rounds. And I think whilst Chudinov can take Eubank Jr. to places, he can take him deep in a fight. He can test his stamina. He can test how he's made weight. He can test how he listens to instructions from the corner. I simply don't believe that Chudinov has the technical ability, having watched a few more of his fights, to cause Eubank Jr. problems. The difficulty is, whilst I think Chudinov is a tough guy, a big guy, a strong guy, a durable guy, does he have the power to knock Eubank Jr. out? In my eyes, no. Lesser opponents have gone the distance with Chudinov. Secondly, does he have the ability to take the majority of the rounds of Eubank? In my eyes, Chudinov is a bit one-paced. He lacks versatility. His work isn't as eye-catching. Now, Eubank Jr. would be in a lot safer position if he could jab and move, if he could fight a bit more on the outside, if he could tailor his defence so he wasn't catching as many shots. This fight could be a lot easier for Chris Eubank Jr. The difficulty is that when Eubank Jr. throws a punch, he has a way of making it look eye-catching. His punch seems to have a speed, a snap, a sting behind it that you just don't see when you're watching Chudinov fight. So in my eyes, this fight goes the distance. I'm not 100% sure how many rounds, I presume 12. On the basis that it's a 12-round fight, being for the fact that it's for a WBA interim belt, I see Eubank Jr. taking a comfortable unanimous decision. I'm going 8 rounds to 4, 9 rounds to 3, 10 rounds to 2, that sort of ballpark. I think there's scope in this fight that Eubank Jr. will win, but that the performance will only heap further questions upon his name. I think there's scope that this fight will show that his power is limited, potentially that his stamina is limited, potentially that his defence is limited, that his back foot game is limited. But I think he will have enough. I think his work is more technical and more eye-catching than what Chudinov brings to the table. And I think whilst Chudinov is a tough guy, whilst he's durable, I just don't think he brings enough to the game to get the job done. Let me know your thoughts. I'm interested to hear on this fight. Thanks very much for watching.